The women have to be really making moves for an entire government to rage war on young women, especially the young women that are responsible for bearing the next generations of children in this country. It's almost like they want to stop, all that's happening.
Because they know that they're going to pass that on. Yeah. And each generation is going to hopefully become stronger and stronger than the last. And their voices are going to get louder. Yeah. People are frustrated, and rightfully so.
Welcome to Dear Young Queen, the podcast.
I'm definitely that friend that knows your angles, by the way. In case you were wondering.
What's mine? Please tell me what mine is.
What? I can help you.
I mean, I look good at most angles. But
see, and that's what I like. Hype yourself up,
Sahar.
sis. That's what we're here for.
She's in the building.
Welcome.
Hi.
We have a guest this week, y'all.
You know who it is.
Oh, talk it. She's ready. She's juice. Alexis, what did you put in her cup?
We have some good tequila over here.
Are you tequila Mexican muling?
Yes.
Okay, I love a Mexican.
Little ginger beer.
I am new to tequila, but I have been enjoying it.
New to tequila?
Yeah, I have nightmares from the Patron days.
Oh, that is it. Let's talk about that for a second. That's the days. That's a decade of remember all the songs that were Patron this, Patron that?
It was bad.
I got one for you. This is going to take you back to a bunch of alcohol that really traumatized us. I want you to tell me what you were drinking when this song was up.
Oh my God.
This was early, so you was drinking some bullshit.
Yeah.
You was taking whatever free liquor was at the table.
A little Incredible Hulk.
Yo, you was drinking anything Alizé.
Not Incredible Hulk.
Yo. Y'all remember Nouveau?
Yes.
It was pink
yellow,
and sparkly. This is Nouveau days.
Shout out to my Nouveau people.
What was it, John Vasquez?
Yes.
Shout out to John
Vasquez.
You might need is that still out there? Can we go get that?
Get some Nouveau, sis? No,
right.
we would be sick immediately.
Immediately.
We'd be so sick.
It was
okay.
nothing but sugar.
What about this? I know what we were drinking here. This was the Patron days, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think what was I drinking? Southern Comfort and Lime.
Oh, no.
What?
Oh, Southern Comfort.
Ooh.
This is definitely Patron.
This is the Patron and champagne days when I used to like the champagne, and now I don't even want to touch it.
A refined palate.
Yeah, I don't touch it anymore.
Ace of Spades only, not the PJ.
I'm good now.
She said top shelf.
Yeah, top shelf.
No, but for real, what is your drink of choice?
So I like to go. I don't like sweet drinks. I have a sweet tooth. I don't like sweet drinks. I like my tequila. Just give me a single rock. Squeeze a lime.
Ooh, maybe an orange slice.
Sometimes I actually prefer the lime over the orange slice. Yeah.
I feel like it's very bougie to drink your tequila with orange slices.
It is.
I love it.
Yeah.
It is.
I love it too. I'd love to pretend to be bougie.
I like a dirty martini. Love a dirty martini. And I like to top off a dinner with an espresso martini with tequila reposado.
Ooh.
Very good.
We brought our fancy friend over here today, guys. Okay, if you didn't see the Fendi sweater she's dripping in, our Pels, which by the way is what I'm calling it now instead of Van Cleef, right?
Yeah.
That the refined knowledge is it's our Pels, not Van Cleef.
We love it.
Yeah, bitch, you came to slay. I'm not mad at you.
Yeah, I got plans too.
Sahar is very consistent with a stunt. She's gonna definitely show up and show out all the time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I'm a fan.
I love dressing up.
Nah, you got hella accessories on right now.
Yes.
Yo, you got hella
We love a
accessories in
stack.
your ears.
I got a lot of piercings.
Stacked. We have layers.
Oh my God, I feel very naked all of a sudden.
So
That's why I had to come ready for Sahar.
yeah, she did. She definitely
She
did.
didn't come to play. That's a very fancy Fendi sweater, very fancy Chanel jacket. Men, I am single, open to receiving gifts. I like to match my friends. I would like a nice, I don't know, Bottega sweater maybe.
That's your love language?
No, it's not. Not only is gifts not my love language, I'm just not into fashion enough that I don't think men even think that those types of gifts or whatever. I'm like, hey, I want to shoot a podcast. Can you pay for that? Hey, I want to go get my lips done. Will you pay for that? I'm kind of more of that kind of I don't think that they would even think of me in the.
Yeah.
I did date a guy though that I think because I was always in sweats, stayed by me fucking Nike. I was like, I like to be sweats, but I don't.
I actually get excited when I have a reason to dress up. So I was like, oh, yeah, I get to throw something on. Because I literally...
Not throw.
Throw something on, like,
yeah.
a little cardigan.
You catch me 7 days out of the week, I'm usually in workout clothes.
I wouldn't mind. I know what your abs look like. I would be in workout clothes too, bitch. Give me a sports bra and some leggings. I would be six pack out. Look, Sahar took me to her gym, girl. Has she taken you yet?
No, but I have worked out with Sahar.
Tell me about it.
But we worked out.
How did it go? I got my own story.
I mean, here I survived. You know, it's a survival story. So tap into that. Because it's definitely, she's very competitive.
What?
And this is a lifestyle for her, so you have to come ready. Yeah.
I didn't really
Survival story.
I didn't even really see the inside of a gym consistently until I was 27. My parents wouldn't let me play sports. I'm Persian, so they're very strict. Just culturally, it's very different. They wouldn't let me play any sports, and I think, you know, once I got to an age where I realized it wasn't even that. I don't want to say it was an age thing. I think I could finally afford a trainer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that part.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but
clap it up for
yeah,
that. Clap it up for that.
Yeah.
I
But
didn't really want to clap. I still can't afford one. So I'm like,
Well, clap to getting one potentially.
All right.
Soon.
But you know,
Maybe that's what you
really, it actually started out with me just, this is obviously when I lived in New York, just running up and down the West Side Highway, like along the Hudson. It just started that way. And
when I lived in Lower Manhattan, I actually used to run on the West Side Highway as
Oh,
well.
such a-
I
There's
love it.
something about actually, and it's like the amount of people that are out there doing it.
That's
The
right.
views are just stunning. It just felt like in this crazy city, we're all deciding to prioritize ourselves, and it's just like an energy out there that is really dope.
I noticed that when I was training for the marathon, that it's a lifestyle.
it is.
And it's so scenic, so you can really pinpoint certain landmarks, and then it's invigorating. And then at the same time, I feel like New York culture is so competitive, so everyone wants to be fit, everyone wants to be in shape, everyone wants to, that's part of their routine. So whether it's mental or also and physical, you see everyone creating that lifestyle.
You know
of
what's
running.
interesting? I might challenge that thought. I feel
Really?
like in LA,
I would
people,
challenge a
you're
little
gonna
bit.
challenge it, right? 'Cause
I would challenge a little
I
bit.
think
I
that
understand
in
that.
Miami and LA, I think that looking and feeling physical fit is the priority. I think that the workout routines and those like people that are on the West Side Highway daily at the same time, same place, I actually think that it's the mentality of New Yorkers have a set routine.
Yes.
And
Yes.
not even if
I
it's not prioritizing your physical fitness, it's prioritizing having self-control and discipline
Yes.
to get up and go.
Absolutely.
You know, like I'm in control because I
It
feel
is
like
the energy in New York. That
yeah,
brings that
like
out. Yes.
I'm disciplined,
Yes.
I'm focused, I'm going after my
Yeah.
goals.
Yeah.
I said I was gonna run every day. So I'm gonna run every day as opposed to running will make me skinnier. So I'm gonna run to be skinnier. I feel like there's just
Yeah.
a little bit more depth behind
One of the
motive.
reasons I started running was because I just wasn't good at it, and it was something I wanted to get better at.
Like the endurance side of it?
Just
or
all of it.
the-
I couldn't run a solid mile without stopping when I first started running.
And then you would run, and then you would run to me, and
Yes.
then we would go eat. That was
Literally.
one of our bonding moments.
Literally, that's what we would do.
That's amazing. That West Side Highway is special too because, like you
It
said,
is.
Lex, the landmarks.
beautiful.
You would get to like West Street, and then the next run you could get to 14th Street.
Yes.
And then the next run you could make it to 23rd Street.
And now you're in Harlem.
Hello.
Yeah,
Just like that.
For the record, I never ran all the way to Harlem. That's a long run, and it's
Yeah, it's
uphill.
about
People
6
don't realize
about
that.
6
It's-
miles.
But the longest I've done consistently without stopping is 7 miles.
Good for you. I'm going to go ahead and toot my horn a little
Do
bit.
it.
Yeah, go ahead, do it. Go ahead.
26.2. New York City Marathon, 2014. 5 hours and 35 minutes.
What?
Hey.
Hey. She did that.
It's not an easy
But
feat.
I won't ever
It's
do
not.
it again.
I bet not.
I would-
I hate to break it to you.
I don't know how
sis.
you wanted to do it in
Yeah,
the
it was
first
too much.
place.
I just had Elijah.
Yeah.
So it was just also that. And then, our girlfriend Amber. You know how she can get, motivated and then add
The
us
pressure.
to that. So
Amber got me for the 10 mile,
See,
the
there we
Bronx
go.
10.
Yeah, the Bronx 10.
She caught me for the
Is
Bronx
that when
10.
I brought donuts?
You did bring donuts
Wow.
to the finish line.
Yeah.
Well, at least it was at the finish line.
It was at the finish line. You needed the sugar at that
No,
point.
can I tell you what you don't want at the end of a marathon?
It should-
Is a fucking donut.
True.
You're literally like, where is something that's going to give me my feelings back in my fingers and my legs? I will have to say, I talk a lot of shit about people who run marathons because they never let you live it down. Like, you're going to hear about them running a marathon for the rest of your life.
For sure.
But
Yes.
the moment that I ran that Bronx 10, I want to let you know that I understand why you would brag about it and be proud and whatever, because that is some shit that takes deep down digging.
It's mental.
It's a men. Bitch, that's
It
just
is.
physical
It's
too.
mental.
The way your body starts swelling up.
Yeah.
And you're, ooh.
My body's still not right from that.
You said 2014, not a decade ago.
Yeah. It's my body's still not right. I still have aches because our bodies aren't meant to like be
Yeah.
impacted on the asphalt like that.
It's really not.
It's one of the reasons why I stopped running.
Well, if you've never participated in a long run or a marathon, I will let you know that there are blind people out there.
Yes.
There are people with no legs out there.
Yes.
There are people, like, when I tell you it is
The
one of the most.
inspiration.
What? I remember one time I don't know, maybe mile 7, I text Amber like, yo, for sure there's a blind woman
Yes.
over the age of 60 in front of me.
Yes, with a runner with them
Yes.
usually. Yeah.
In front of me, killing it. And I was like, how much more? How much more?
Yeah.
But there is just something about that, how you get in touch with God
That's right.
to just get you to the end of it.
That's right.
That I said, and I'm someone that's pretty spiritual. I spend a lot of time in prayer. I have prayer closets, prayer books, like everything. The way that I tapped into my spirituality to just get me through the last 2 miles on that 10 mile was like, I knew I couldn't do it alone.
I feel you.
So I don't know.
I prayed every mile. I was like, can I get to 16? Can I get a 17? Legs don't fail me now. So
Ooh.
your body definitely changes. Like it goes into a different gear. Yeah, but then you turn around and you see someone who's blind, and you turn around and see someone who has 2 runners lifting them up, and you just like, I cannot complain.
You can't.
I cannot complain.
And
Let me
I can
just
do
push
this.
forward. Yes, and I have to make it to the end. And then we do it, and then we're here sitting talking about it, and we're okay. We made it.
Yeah.
You know.
I'll be at the track tomorrow morning. I do sprints. I don't
Yeah,
do
saw
long
you,
distance.
but are you not going to DB anymore?
No, I still go there.
Oh, you just have
DBC.
another
Yeah.
trainer. She went from a 41 trainer to 2.
He's actually another trainer from DBC.
You got to tell me for real. Did you join DBC because they had the best trainers and you wanted a fit body, or did you join it because there's some men in there?
Uh-oh.
When I first went, it was like the gyms, I feel like.
There were no men.
No.
And then they started coming. No? Oh, okay, sorry. When you first went.
When I first went, I just had no clue, like, what to expect.
Yeah.
But I was still nervous about going out. I had just came down to Miami, so with everyone being out in the open, that made me nervous. I still wasn't comfortable with it yet. You know, we're talking July 2020. And I went, and I actually enjoyed it. I was like, the music, the vibe, it becomes, not only does working out become a part of a lifestyle, but you end up like developing your own family and so forth from like the people that are in your circle that you're working out with and so forth. And it makes it fun. That's part of the motivation of going. It's like, oh, my trainer talks so much shit. Alan, he knows me. He's like, yeah, I know if I talk all this trash, she's going to work harder. So, and he's funny because I feel like he makes me flex a little bit harder on my workout when there's some cuties in there.
Yeah. He's trying to hold you down.
Yeah, he's like, I got you. He's like, I got you.
Let me show you guys how much she can squat.
Right.
That's great motivation, though.
It is. It's fun. I don't know if I would want to talk to anybody that works out at my gym just because it's such a small, like, intimate setting.
Yeah.
But there's great people there. It's turned into family. So that's really awesome. And it was really an escape when I was nervous still with going and, you know, being out in these streets
Good for you.
in the middle of the pandemic.
I went, and then I saw a cute boy, and I was like, no, I don't want to be bad at this set that I'm doing. So it put the pressure on, and I left remembering, like, damn, if I worked out here, I would for sure be fit as fuck. Because you don't want to look bad. Like, I don't
You
wanna
don't.
look
You
bad
want your
in front of
outfit
these
to
men.
match. Like,
yeah.
Like,
sure.
I don't personally, I just tie my hair in a bun and just call it a day, but at least my outfit matches. Yeah. So that looks somewhat presentable. I brush my teeth before I walk in there.
Maybe I need to step my game up a little bit.
It's fun. And it really has turned
My
into
gym
family.
attire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's a good time.
All right, so we know a few things before we've introduced her. We know that she
Absolutely.
lives here in Miami.
Yeah.
Yes.
We know that she's fit AF.
Yes.
Yes.
And we know she can get dressed.
Yes.
Yes.
Today, joining Alexis and I on the Dear and Queen podcast is Sahar. Not only is she one of our great, great friends, she's actually the first person ever. I love this story, ever. That I tested a podcast with.
Really?
I wanted to do a podcast in 2018 or 2019.
And it was so good. It was definitely worth the trip out to Jersey.
And that little bit of footage and what we were able to get out of that is what really lit the fire under my ass to know that there were stories that I felt like needed to be shared in settings that were like comfy and cozy. And so I am always anxious to bring her to any podcast that I'm participating in because I just feel like she has so much to give and share.
Absolutely. I've learned so much from Sahar over the years.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I'm happy that you're joining us on Dear and Queen, the podcast
Thank
officially.
you.
Thank you.
Please don't try to get any credit for this or anything.
I know. I was going to say, like, my equity. We're already going to have a talk about this tomorrow.
Okay.
But we're so glad to have you here.
Absolutely.
One of the things that you mentioned is that you're Persian.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't have any problem exposing my ignorance. I know that your family's in Iran.
Yeah, my
so
parents.
So are you not
yeah.
Iranian?
So Iran is the country.
Okay.
Iranian is a way to refer to someone from Iran. Persian is also a way of referring to someone from Iran. The Persian Empire at one point or another had taken over a lot of what we can call real estate in the Northern Africa and all these other areas in the Middle East. But eventually, ultimately, Iran is like, if you're from Iran, you are Persian. So they could be used interchangeably.
So the Persian Empire would have consisted of more countries other than Iran.
Yes.
So when you say, if someone says they're Persian, they can be from a number of countries?
There are folks that do refer to being Persian and they're from other countries, but then you get, a little technical and people be like, no, you're only Persian if you're from Iran.
Got it. I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a fine line.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm going to be like, no one ever else wondered that.
Absolutely.
Because I knew there wasn't
I confess to that.
Yeah, like I have heard mad women be like they're Persian, or I watched really good reality television show on Bravo and like Shaws of Sunset and stuff. Or like just go to Beverly Hills. And it's like people are Persian and I'm like, where's Persia?
Yeah.
Where's Persia?
Technically, Iran.
Gotcha.
Because you don't even say Iranian food. A lot of times you say Persian food.
Okay.
So if you look at certain, especially out on the West Coast.
Like a culture, a heritage.
Yeah.
Interesting. Is it Iran or Iran also?
If you're saying it in the Persian accent, if you're speaking in Farsi, Iran is how you would actually say it.
Okay.
Yeah, but Americans say Iran.
Iran. I definitely am guilty of that.
Yeah.
Iran.
Yeah.
Iran, Iraq, because you like as dumb
And
as we are, like ignorant as we are.
It's just the accent. So like even my name Sahar, that's how Americans pronounce it, but in Farsi, the exact translation is Sahar.
Sahar.
Sahar. Yeah, you got to roll your R's.
Sahar. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you prefer that your American friends try to say it
no,
that? Or just
no, they're going to fail miserably. All
so
of
you
them.
would just
just
Sahar works.
Sahar. Just go with
I'm
Sahar.
Just stick with that. You look bomb.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely beautiful.
Can't possibly have had that confidence and looked as good as you have your whole life. All right? I know that there were some awkward stages.
There were
some awkward stages in your life.
I didn't get cool until like high school.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell us about the first time that you realized you were awkward or different or felt other than.
There's a lot, though. Picking one. I would say my first language truly in the home was Farsi. And when I went to daycare, my dad always tells me the story that I came home crying because I couldn't understand half the things that the kids were saying because we didn't speak English in the house. I didn't know. I didn't know what Easter was.
What?
Yeah, when I was little.
Oh, yeah, it's a religious thing.
It's a religious thing.
Yeah.
So my parents didn't know. So it wasn't until I went to school until I realized what it was. And I came back home and I'm like, Mom, like, why don't we celebrate Easter?
Yeah.
And she felt so bad for me that after that, every year she would buy me like a little stuffed Easter bunny and like a little basket.
That way you felt included. That's cute.
You know, kindergarten, preschool, like
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that, you know,
Yeah.
where you're actually amongst other kids. And, you know, it's like this thing. Like, wait, what?
And were your parents born in Iran?
Yes.
Like, they came here?
They
when you
came
were
here during
born?
the revolution.
Okay.
So they escaped the revolution in 79, and then afterwards, you know, then came me and then my brother.
I love that. Well, obviously, as you know right now, Iran is a hot topic.
Yeah.
As it has been for many years. The battle against the regime that's been in power since what, like the 70s?
Yeah.
79.
Yes.
Since 79.
So let me give a little history. Pre the revolution in 1979, Iran was like any other country. It was a democratic country. You can wear what you want, go where you want, do what you want. There were relations between Iran and the U.S. And then ultimately the revolution happened, and this regime comes in, and they are very conservative. You know, it's a dictatorship, and they're like, okay, you have to be covered now. And essentially what they did was they overturned the regime that was governing the country, and then they created what you would consider your moral police, and then you have your regular police. So the moral police go around and make sure that your hijab is properly covering your hair, that you wear what's essentially equivalent to like a trench coat over your clothes, so that so a man can't see the form and shape of your curves.
Wow.
Right? So
Yeah.
their job is to actually like police all of that. The moral
Enforce-
police.
enforce these
Yes,
rules.
thank you. To enforce all those rules. And there's a lot of other things that apply to it, because once the revolution happened, there's no alcohol. There's no like there's no like Western music. There's no Western fashion. So think about your Vogues and your Bazaars and all the different, you know, clothing lines and things of that nature. So there's none of that. And that really kind of shapes a society. Think about it.
Absolutely.
So now you have these dictators that are really strict with what you can and can't do. And, you know, people are just getting a little bit tired of it, right? It's senseless acts of brutality that are happening against people, and there's no accountability for it. You know, there are a lot of times where they would say, you don't want to get arrested by the moral police because there's no telling what could happen once you're in there, under their supervision in the jail. It's a scary thought. This is not the first time it happened. I lived there for a little while, and when I was living there, they killed a young lady because too much of her hair was showing. You know, so this is not the
just
first
strict.
time. Yeah, this is not the first time. It's, you know, this just caught, you know, some headwind behind it, and there's been hundreds of deaths, and I think unfortunately there hasn't been enough coverage on it because the country has literally shut down its internet. I can't even get a hold of my parents. Like, I get an email from my mom every once in a while, and that's about it. I haven't been able to actually hear her voice in like 3 weeks.
Wow.
So it's and they can control, like they have this control over this society, and people are becoming fed up with it because if you go and look at my family and my cousins and so forth, they all had the desire to be in the States. They were all like, oh man, we want this opportunity as women. Iran has, I think, the highest percentage of unemployed college educated population like anywhere in the world, because one, there's nothing else to do. There's no distractions.
It's just go to school,
There's
be good at it.
absolutely
Yes.
There's no distractions, and culturally we've always been big on education to begin with.
Right.
So there's nothing to do. They're big on education, and then you go to college, you graduate, and then what? You just make babies. Like that's what else? What else do you do?
Interesting.
You know, there's so many limitations as a woman with what you can do in Iran, unfortunately.
I remember that when I talked to you when we did that podcast the first time, the one thing that that stuck out to me is that I had known you for years and I had never known that you actually lived in Iran.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what? How I know you and didn't know this about you? When did you live in Iran? Like, what? Huh? Tell us what happened.
You would think I was a military baby, but the amount of times and the amount of different places I've lived. But yeah, I did live in Iran. My parents actually shipped me off to Iran.
So wait, were your parents, start from the beginning. So your parents are from Iran.
Yes.
They came to.
They escaped the revolution.
Okay.
They escaped the revolution. Like, guns were going off while my mom, like, there was a couple times my mom tried to get to the airport, and they ended up shutting the airport down, and, you know, because there was gunfire, so she'd have to go back and wait for another day. Yeah, just insane. And mind you, both of my parents were engineers in Iran, and they came to America with no money. They didn't speak English. My dad was a busboy. My mom was a waitress. And then, like, a year later, they had me. Like, when I was born, they still didn't speak English. So, yeah, so they, at the age of 13, they were like, you need to go, you need to understand where you're from. Because you want to do all these American things, like play sports. Well, what's a dance? Like, what do you need to go to a school dance for? No, you go there to get educated, not to go dance. Like, you mean you want to go to the movies with someone besides your family? Why would you ever want to do that? Like, all this stuff was so foreign to them. And they're just like, oh, she's being influenced. We need to send her home.
Wow.
Yeah, and they sent me to Iran.
At 13, which is like
13.
Dead in the middle of puberty. Dead in the middle of like wanting to like try out makeup and flex your hair. It's like when you as a girl start to
blossom.
Get in touch with yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and they didn't tell me they were sending me for good either, because they knew if they did, it would be an issue. So when I went there, I didn't even have my American passport with me. I just went with my Persian passport. And I couldn't leave the country unless I left the country. This is a law, a real thing. I couldn't leave the country unless I had my husband with me or my father.
So they wanted you accompanied with a male figure.
I just had threw a fit. You know, I was like, this is not it. And I think, you know, my dad finally caved and like was like, I'm gonna go get her.
When you moved there, who did you live with?
So I lived with my dad's brother initially, and if you can imagine it takes like 26 hours to get there. There's no direct flights. I'm 13 years old. One of their friends was going over there, so they sent me with their friend, and I'm like, okay, this person that, like, I mean, my parents knew them well, but I'm like, I don't know you like that. You know, and I show up, and my uncle, I had never met this side of my family before outside of my aunt that lived out there. Like,
So it's like culture shock. It's living with strangers.
Yeah. It was crazy.
Your whole world is just upside down.
Upside down.
Because you came from America.
Yeah. And
Land of the free,
my
home of
dad's
the
side of the
brave.
family, just,
Tough.
they were full of love, but financially, you know, they weren't as well off. So I walk in their house the first night and I need to use the restroom. And I go to use the restroom and I had no idea. Nobody warned me about this. And it's a porcelain hole in the ground.
Yeah. I've noticed. I've seen that.
I don't know if anyone's traveled to like
China,
yeah,
Asia.
some Middle Eastern countries. There's some
Middle
Asian
Eastern.
countries that, you know,
Yeah.
have. I'm like, what am I supposed to do right now? I
Get
didn't
your
know what to
aim down.
do. Like, wait, do I take all my clothes off
Yeah,
and
like,
squat? Like,
Yeah.
I'm 13 years
Definitely
old.
culture shock for sure.
I'm 13 years old. I don't know any better. I'm just like, I just went to my room and cried afterwards. I was like, oh my God, what is this? Like, yeah, it's different, you know, and then you're like, as soon as you land, like as soon as you move into like Iran's like air, I think back then, like they weren't serving alcohol on the plane anymore, you know, like before you get off the plane, they're like, okay, it's time for everyone to cover up. You know, it's,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's different.
And how long were you
Incredible.
there, and how did you leave?
So I was there for a year the first time. My dad came and got me, but they actually sent me there 2 other summers, like for the entire summer. So as soon as, you know, the summer would hit, they would be like, all right, you can go stay with your
Yes.
family.
But at least you knew on those summers that you were coming back home.
Yeah.
You were like, all right, I could go.
all right,
I want to
yeah.
see the people I love.
Right.
I want to see my family.
I
Like,
know
I
Yeah.
wanna do
I'm
all of
going
that.
back.
Yeah. Dad's side of the family was very traditional, even before it was mandated, my grandmother would be covered. My mom's side of the family was like the complete opposite. But they never enforced that on me here. All of it was new to me there. I mean, I was aware of that part of it, and it's pretty basic, just throw it on and this, that, and the other. They did try to arrest me and my cousin one time because we had red nail polish on, and they felt like, oh, that's wow. And then my uncle came and just quickly paid him off because he's like, there's
Something that we just take for granted.
red nail polish.
Red nail polish.
Jail. What the hell is jail
Jail.
time? What kind of jail time does red nail polish get?
You know what? I never found out, and I don't
Thank
ever
God.
want to find out.
For sure, but like...
But, think about it. The young lady, oh, man, her name is like on the tip of my tongue right now, too, who was recently killed in police custody there, right? In the moral police custody there, was just because she had too much of her hair showing. I mean, if you could imagine, I have too much of my hair showing, so that warrants death.
Yeah. It's out of control. It's hard for me to read some of the stories. I read a story about a young woman whose mother shaved her head and then they killed her mother. And the little girl's like holding the last few strands of her hair at the funeral, holding on. My mom did this so that I don't have to. Or like just the various different stories about them bombing certain areas that are like fully like densely populated with female protesters, and like just all of it is a lot. And I think that I actually until recently didn't understand how bad it actually really was for women in Iran. And I think that is so imperative for women like you, Sahar, who are educated and successful and in touch with women, so many different women of color, to also share your culture and the things that are happening in your country. Like, I don't know that I ever considered you a woman of color.
Right.
You're a woman of color. And I really hope and wish that you continue to share more of what's going on so that we can continue to support. I put up a meme on Dear Young Queen that was like, if only we had half the bravery of the women in Iran.
Yeah.
Like, we would do some incredible shit.
Yeah.
But we don't even know.
Yeah.
And you're not talking to two women that haven't traveled.
There are times where there's a certain picture of Iran painted by the news and media for whatever reasons, and that's a deeper story there as far as all the reasons, but most of the population in Iran is below the age of 35, and they are pro-American because they're young, they're ambitious. They were like, I've gotten all this education, now what? There's no opportunity. They're so limited, and it's such a beautiful country. That's where you're seeing all this bravery. It's young women out there risking
trying to break
it.
that. Yeah.
So
Wow.
My mom said it's more women protesting than anything else. It's all
Incredible.
women out there showing their bravery.
I read about how they had shut down basically like one of the universities, like the STEM university, like the way that they're firing back at women are to attack their education, to attack their access, to attack their strength, right? And kind of continue to break them back down. And it's just like, you have to actually be so strong in that area for people to know that if they attack that, it would be hitting your Achilles heel.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like the women have to be really making moves for an entire government to rage war on young women, especially the young women that are responsible for bearing the next generations of children in this country. It's almost like they want to stop, all that's happening.
Because they know that they're going to pass that on.
Yeah.
And each generation is going to hopefully become stronger and stronger than the last. And their voices are going to get louder.
Yeah.
People are frustrated, and rightfully so. I mean, we take for granted so much some of the freedoms and opportunities we have here. And I know, especially as a minority woman, especially being a woman working in I started my career in engineering, so I know what it feels like to be on the minority.
Sure.
But we take for granted just some of the opportunities that are open to us. At the end of the day.
You use your little voice and your little attitude, and you got yourself back to America. They were like, you know what? I can't control this. I can't control
Take her back. Take her back.
She's back.
Take her back.
So they brought you back.
They brought me back.
Yeah.
And when I moved back, so there are times where I think to myself, was the decision my parents made not just because of, she needs to go back and see where she came from, but were they financially driven? Because when I came back, they were living in a 2-bedroom apartment.
I see.
So was there this notion of, okay, kids are expensive. They weren't, they were doing, there was always food on the table. There was always love in the house. There was always, food in the refrigerator and heat. But, it's just.
Like, we need a little right
now. Like, we need a little help. If she could just go away for a little while. So there's times where I thought that was the case.
A lot of times our parents are making decisions that we don't understand.
Exactly.
We're faced to have to make some adult decisions ourselves.
Exactly.
All right, well then, sis, came back, got her education, found a good job.
Yeah.
Head on straight.
Yeah.
Oh, no, actually, you know what? I did cut up when I got back. I really wasn't even bad until I got back.
Cut up.
I really wasn't bad until I got back, and I think I was just rebelling a little bit because of everything that had happened. It's like, you sent me away.
What is cut up? Tell me about what.
My cut up wasn't even a real cut up. I mean, I would sneak out of the house, try a little weed,
I never smoked.
The usual.
I never snuck out the house.
I never did. That's
cutting up, sis.
That
is cutting up.
I snuck out the house and took the car one time.
Yeah, nah.
Oh, maybe.
I was
not
about that life.
What? I wasn't ready to die. My mom always told me, if you get arrested, don't call me.
Oh, really?
I'm not coming to get you.
I'm scared to be arrested.
I mean, unless my parents
did not play. There was no. You better figure out who you're gonna call, because if you do something that gets your ass arrested, you deserve to be there. And
that makes sense.
She instilled the fear of God in me, like the fear.
Wow. Yeah. I got caught sneaking out. I never got caught taking the car when I snuck out. So unless my parents
you're not getting caught on the walk back in. That's the worst. You made it most of the night. You had mentioned that your original trade and original career was in engineering.
Yes.
What the is sexy about engineering, and why did you want to be one?
Nothing at all.
It's so cool now to be like a woman in tech or this and that, but when we were younger,
so trendy
16, 17, 18, I never was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be an engineer when I grow up. I probably should have.
Right.
But
it was.
How did you land there?
It was purely by accident. I was working a temp job. I actually got fired the first time from the temp job because I fell asleep, but I was done my work.
So they would tap you in the shoulder.
Sahar,
wake up.
To my defense, there was no windows in the room. It was like white noise in the background. I'd finished my work, so I fell asleep. And somebody walked in and saw me asleep. It's okay. They told me not to come back. And then literally a couple weeks later, the recruiter called me and she was like, oh, do you want another temp job? It's at the same company, but it's now for like one of the presidents of the company. I was like, they just fired me like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You want me to go back? You want me to set myself up for failure. Got it.
Okay. Not only did they have me go back, but they gave me even more money to go back. And I was like, oh, okay, great. And now,
incentive.
Right. And I had an office and everything.
Oh, yeah. You were living.
Control. They hired you and then hired you in upper management.
Yes.
What?
If upgrade
to support.
They were trying to fill some quotas.
So I was an assistant. Yeah, I was an assistant for one of the presidents of the company, and I had a little office. And one of the tech support guys came up to my office to fix my computer. Actually, it was a woman who came first, who ended up being like one of my really like close friends. And when she went back, instead of her coming back up, she sent this one guy. She was like, oh my God, you're going to think she's cute. You should go up and help her.
Oh, okay.
She was like, honey, I got somebody for you.
Nudge,
nudge. And the computer tech department is for you.
So he came up. He clearly helped set up my laptop, my computer, and so forth. And, we just got to talking. We became cool. And he was like, yeah, what are you doing? Like, what's your life about? I was like, oh, I'm in college. I'm just trying to, make some money, pay my way through college. And he's like, oh, you should think about getting into tech. And I was like, well, what does it take? And he's like, all you got to do is like, go take these couple of exams and people will hire you, and they'll hire you and you'll make 6 figures before you know it.
Wow. I am like, where was my guardian angel? Where was my
was
computer
beautiful.
tech guy? Like, I needed him bad as a senior in college to
Yes.
just tap on my shoulder.
Because at this point, I had no idea. Like, I was majoring in marketing. I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I was like, oh,
I think also too at the time period in which this is happening.
Oh,
is
this
also
is like,
crucial.
yes, this is the .com era. Like,
Oh, that's
yeah.
perfect.
So this was when they were looking for resources and talent under every single rock. So you barely had to, if you could subnet IP addresses, they would hire you. I went and opened the books, and I went and took the exams, and I got hired. The first company I worked for called Urban Link Solutions, and we were out in the club.
Out in the club.
Out in the club, and one of my girlfriends, the guy she was dating, brought a friend, and he was like, oh, what do you do? And I was like, oh, I just got like my MCSC certification and this, that, and the other. And he was like, oh, I know a startup and they need somebody.
Wow.
And now this is what I'm saying.
I was like, okay.
I think that there's a lot of that happening right now.
Yeah.
With what is that, 2010, when all your Ubers, Lyfts, all your major app type technology companies burst onto the scene. There was like this mass hey, you don't have to have any experience, just take these lessons or take these classes or take these courses. And now we're looking at a lot of those women who jumped at that opportunity now, who are quote unquote heads of and have their own apps and raising funds from VCs for these things that they've created, because they also very much jumped at an opportunity in an industry that had no men are better than women, or they're like, we need people to make this work.
Yeah,
come work.
Exactly.
Please. Yeah.
Lots of founders.
I want to say the one thing that was lacking for me, and still is, honestly, and it's probably a combination of timing and just the companies I ended up working at. There was never a woman that looked like me in any way, shape, or form, or resembled me slightly, that was in a seat of leadership, in a position of leadership. At these companies. Like, there was companies where I was literally the only woman.
Sis, you couldn't find a man in any of that? Was there any good ones?
These guys, I'm telling you, they're not for me.
You in all these rooms with just men? That sounds like a dream.
Let me take you into a room full of techies. Yeah,
Wow.
it's a little different.
It is different.
It's boring, but it sounds expensive.
Afrotech is going on right now. Actually, shout out to Afrotech that has a female founder.
Tech is a lot cooler now than it was back then.
Right.
It's transformed since then. Back then there was, oh my God, am I telling my age? There was the internet, but there wasn't.
There was the internet.
There was the internet. It existed.
AOL.
There was no .com.
But a lot of the .coms that are around today, you weren't even processing credit card, but you're barely processing credit card payments online. Think about that.
Yeah, when we talked before, you were explaining how it's kind of like the beginning of retail stores taking business online.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
and now it's like a lot of people's primary version of shopping. Well, online.
Everything's
and
online.
you see where COVID hit, where children are now at home. They were able to stream live and be in the classroom, and you're able to be mobile and travel everywhere. That's one thing about Sahar. She shows up. She'll show up all over the world, but she's like, I have a meeting. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Still taking my meetings, but that's the beauty of working in tech too.
That's right.
There's a lot of flexibility in the space and how you work. I'm specifically on the sales side now, so I haven't gone into an office since 2008.
Good for you.
I could pretty much live anywhere and work from anywhere, just as long as I can get to my clients.
Right.
But there are plenty of tech roles where you're not required to come into the office, and the quality of life it's given me, just having that level of freedom. It would take a lot of money for me to go into an office every day.
I say the same
Good for
thing,
you.
girl.
It really would.
One of the things I say, and I mean this to no shade that anybody is a part of, it just wasn't fit for me. Even when I worked at Atlantic Records, it was in a building on 6th Avenue and 50 something. That was one of those high rises where companies had 4 or 5 floors in the building. And every morning when I would walk in on the way to work and go through that revolving door, I would feel like all of the men were dressed the same.
Gray.
They're
Black.
literally like a button up, a this, a that. There was like no individuality. And even though the women were dressed differently, we were all on the same fucking mission. Get through this door, go to the elevator, walk to your office, sit at your desk. It's lunchtime, get up, walk to the elevator, walk downstairs, walk out. And I just felt like so much of a robot. I felt like so much of not, there was no individuality. There was no, I don't know. It wasn't for me. And I have been talking about this dinner series I did in November for Dear Young Queen. In New York City, one of the head of diversity and inclusion at Lyft, and she just basically was like, I know that this is a room full of successful women, but like I am asking you, my job is to hire women that look like you at 6-figure starting salaries where you could work remote at home for Lyft. Like,
that's a beautiful setup.
Please, like, pass this on to your friends, like, pass this to people. We need more of us in these spaces. And so to think that you were one of, I don't know how many, however long ago this was, we're not going to do numbers. And then now they're still actually calling for that. It's like, yo, ladies, if you are listening, like, pay attention. Oh. Look at her neck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And
that's
like,
amazing.
Start now is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of cool things you can do in the industry too. You know, I think the mistake a lot of folks make is the assumption that if you're in tech, you're sitting behind a computer all day programming. But no, there's a lot of. I started out as a practicing engineer. I'm in sales now. I go take customers to dinner, tell them about cool technology, why they should own it, and it's fun.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
And,
I love it.
You know, it's good for you.
Look, you done been through some shit. You strong as you got a good job. You
Yes.
fashionable.
Yes.
You fit.
Yeah.
We've been asking everybody that comes on this question. If you had to define your relationship status.
Single.
Oh, all right. I was gonna throw you some options, but go ahead, sis.
Single.
Single as a dollar
And ready
bill.
to mingle.
Single and ready to mingle.
And you should find that one for you, and until you do, enjoy yourself.
Well, Sahar's rule, everybody, is if you find her a husband, hey, I'm opening it up to the room. Are y'all listening? Listen,
as a
I hope
token
you're
of my
listening, guys.
appreciation. As a token of my appreciation.
If you introduce her to her husband, she will buy you a Birkin.
Yeah.
Now, fellas, I don't know if y'all got friends or
I have
you
an
know
asterisk.
somebody.
I have an asterisk. I asked for something.
I don't know if y'all know, but you could get that Birkin. You flip that to any girl, she's doing whatever you want for the rest of your life, okay? So I'm still out here. Ladies, if you got a good option, y'all heard from Sahar.
She mentions this every opportunity.
No,
I
every
love
opportunity
this,
they can,
by
because
the
if
way.
we can find
I'm
it.
trying to get in on that.
Nobody's really gotten in on it, but
I'm trying
it's okay. It's
Nah,
okay.
I tried, sis. I tried. You're a little intimidating. You have
Yeah,
what is going on, sis? It's not an easy sell.
Are you picky?
I am.
She's smart. She's educated. She doesn't really need us to do this, but I really would like a Birkin. So I put this out here. This is a bomb rule, and I've been trying to figure out what my offering is going to be, because look how invested I am in Sahar.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
starting to feel like I need an offering.
You should, 100%.
It's
a great
token of-
incentive.
Yeah.
It's not even an incentive. It's really just showing.
Bitch, that's an incentive.
Appreciation.
It's showing your
That's an
appreciation. It's
Yeah.
really showing your
thank you.
appreciation.
I actually love it. You're the first and the only
I've ever heard something like this.
I'm
sort.
requesting a Kelly, though.
You got it, babe.
She said whatever you want, because my
Right.
husband's going to buy it for you.
Right.
It's actually
Find the
not-
right one. You can pick the color too.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so
Ooh.
much.
Don't do that to Alexis. You know she's gonna find some exclusive ass color
A
tucked
skin?
away in another country that you can only get if, like, for sure.
This one, we were in Paris, actually.
Yeah.
Who did I see that went hit up the Hermes store? This one right here.
And they're on the tour
In
bus
Paris.
waiting on us. Of course, she has us on a tour bus. I'm like, why are we on a tour bus in Paris?
Because safety first when you travel in other countries. She let us know that already on a previous
That's right.
episode. You always
I have
gotta
an
be safe,
itinerary.
okay? You gotta be safe when you're out the country. We need to talk about some lasts.
Okay.
Now, I see that our pearls on your neck, on your wrists. I have my own little. I haven't gotten my own, but I did get a nice little gift.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
so
wish
I could
somebody
join
would
the club so I could be cool like you guys. Okay.
I wish these were. I wish
you
this
guys.
was
Don't.
gifted.
don't.
You
I
don't.
No.
Okay, so my last question for you is, tell me about the last time a man got you a gift. Ooh. And what was it? Which I feel like is a task because she's very expensive. So, like, this probably...
Well, actually, a guy trying to court me buying a gift.
That's the answer we want.
or that you dated, because I don't really...
Yeah,
Either
it's
one.
like late summer-ish.
Oh.
Okay, that was like last quarter, time for...
Do you mind telling us what it was?
It was a little Fendi bag.
Oh, nice.
Not little. You see why she's hard to get?
No. It really was like a plastic. It was like a...
God.
Like a smaller version of
yeah,
that. Was that a
Fendi
bag?
bag.
It's like the plastic one. Like it was under $1,000.
Like a clutch.
Let's be clear. It was.
I mean, well, do you spend more than $1,000 on men?
Yeah.
You do.
Oh, I've got
Yes.
it. So I'm a great gift giver.
Really?
Very
all right.
thoughtful.
So that.
So
All
hers-
right.
I will take you around the world first class.
What?
I've done that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, what's the last gift you got a man? Also, ladies, it's holiday season gift guide brought to you by Sahar.
Actually, great gift giver for a guy that I actually liked.
Well, you don't gift guys you don't like, do you?
I
Yeah,
mean,
at
like
all.
versus a friend.
Yeah. One that you are romantically interested in.
It's been a while. It's been like, I want to say, pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at you.
That's
I said,
fine. I mean, you don't need to be just like out there giving it out anyway.
Hey, hello. Don't trick. We don't trick.
Right.
But for Sahar, it ain't tricking if you got it.
Yeah.
So.
Like, pre-pandemic-ish, something like that. It's been a while.
Let's give the ladies, before we get out of here, at least 3 gifts, good gifts that you think are creative, not all expensive. Some creative or cute or whatever, that women can get men as gifts for the holidays.
I think it's really just paying attention to the man. We all want to be seen and heard. So really just understanding what it is that they're interested in. You know, what is it that, like, I have a friend who picked up tennis. So his birthday just passed. You know, I got him YSL tennis balls with a little carrying case.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're into, and it's like, you know, things that you probably wouldn't spend your own money on, but are really nice little touches. Yeah, thoughtful. Like, oh, like.
Okay,
this is
so
cool.
number 1.
So pay attention.
specialized- Number 1, well, definitely pay attention, but number 1, specialized designer items. Okay, no.
That's one.
Okay, second one.
If you're on a tighter budget, sometimes just doing something nice, like a home cooked meal, coming home to some candles being lit, you know.
Yes.
That's always nice. Do a spa day. That way it's for you and him at the same
Hello.
time.
Hello.
That's the
A
best,
2-for-1.
That's the best trick in the book.
Yeah.
That way it's a gift for the
love a
both of you.
2-for-1.
So that's always fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's the thoughtfulness, right? It's not about the monetary aspect of it. It's about you paying attention to that other person and, you know, how they receive love.
Yeah.
You know, it might not even be a gift.
Right.
It might just
Whatever
be
their
your
love
time.
language.
It might be your words.
Yeah.
You know, just understanding that is really key.
All right, so Sahar hasn't received a gift since the summer, so men. So you can find her at Instagram.
Yes.
We'll put it in our
Yes.
in our link in bio, but also it is
Official Sahar B.
official Sahar B. Honestly, Sahar, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having
sharing,
me.
for
Thank you for
educating
coming
us, for being
over.
open, for being late to your dinner. I hope it's not a date because then we definitely are not getting the Birkin bag.
Oh, no.
All right.
But honestly, we appreciate you. Let's get a little cheers before we
Thank
get up out of here,
you.
boo.
Cheers.
Come back soon.
Yes,
Because you know
always.
I'm always bringing you to the mic.
Yes, and I love being on the mic. Thank you for having me.
Of
Thank
course.
you
Where's
for
your
coming.
drink?
Cheers.
Lex, you don't have one?
No,
I'll
it's
make
okay.
sure you guys have
Cheers.
Ah,
one
the
this time.
hostess with the mostest. See you later, sis.
Bye.